What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's Ending Explains of The Night House. Now, before we begin, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming in next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. So here we are, Ending Explains, or spoiler Ending Explains, whatever you want to call it, for The Night House. Just to let you know, it has officially released. The first few showings have happened now. If you have not seen this movie and you want to see it, do not watch this video. If not, and you really don't care, here we go. So The Night House, of course, is a film about a woman who is dealing with the death of her husband. The husband committed suicide, all that good stuff. And she is dealing with some demons. She had an accident back in her day, which caused her to die for a few minutes. And now she's holding some kind of darkness or whatever, whatever it's called. And her husband, who's known her for years, 15 plus years, has tried to keep it under bay. He's trying to keep her in good spirits. For some reason, he kills himself, and we find out later why that is. So this movie is interesting because I love Rebecca Hall in this movie. It's an Oscar-worthy performance, or at least Oscar nominee performance. She's so good, as she always is. Look at Christine. Look at, anything she's ever done. She is a talent to behold that's very underrated. But the movie I didn't think was very good, and I think it was very good because I think it was very, very confusing in a lot of aspects. I think it had a lot of issues. The reviews for a lot of people have now come out, and some people enjoy it, some people hate it like I did. But it's a movie that's going to be very divisive in its storytelling. But there are theories about what exactly is happening in this movie. At least for my concept, I think there's a couple theories that you could go with in this movie. Some of the things in this movie are very kind of questionable about what exactly is going on with her mindset. This is what I truly believe. There's a different also kind of thing with spirituals and like spirits and stuff like that, with she's being controlled by some kind of devil entity and whatnot. I don't think that's the actual thing. I don't think it's a spooktacular mystery. I think it's, as I'll explain, it's all in her head. But she has been dealing with this problem for quite a while. She has a friend who, after her husband dies, Rebecca Hall's husband dies, is trying to tell her to just let it go, to keep it from festering and becoming worse and worse and worse. And that's where the whole darkness comes in, the whole idea of, her mentality, her mental state. Her mental state starts to deteriorate as this movie moves along. She's always had problems, but it's to an extent where she just can't control it anymore. And so she starts seeing things, she starts hearing things, she uncovers a book that is diagrams and like stuff with the house about how to build the house and different layers. And she starts uncovering like a mystery kind of, if you've ever seen Westworld and you've seen that map of it looks like a labyrinth in a lot of ways and that type of scenario, but in this movie it looks like a labyrinth and whatnot. And she starts hearing things, doors open, she starts seeing the nice shadows and people like looking at her, like if the objects kind of move the right into the right vicinity of each other, it looks like a person. She starts uncovering this other house that she realizes her husband was building on the opposite end of the lake. It's a reverse house, all that good stuff. And she starts to uncover the fact that her husband wasn't all he says he was, and that he was an adulterer, and he may have been killing a lot of these women, because as we see in the movie, during a rainstorm, she uncovers dead bodies underneath the floorboards. Now, with that said, she somehow will go and have dreams about it. She sees her husband having dreams. She thinks she's hearing stuff. The radio keeps getting turned on to her favorite song. She's being whispered to. She has dreams about the other side, the reverse house. And it doesn't make a lot of sense on what exactly is happening with that house, what is going on. And this where it goes into my theory about she is not mentally capable after her husband killed herself, because this is where it's going to be really conflicting with a lot of people who are not going to agree with me. I think she has some responsibility about what happened to these other women. I think her darkness is the fact that she's able to refrain herself from, seeing the truth, seeing what actually happened. This darkness is a demon of sort, where she is so messed up, so under influence of just, complete, utter despair, that it made her husband go kind of insane, I guess, maybe, or something like that. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but I really feel like when she sees, not only dead bodies under the floorboard, and the idea of she sees all the times where the husband has killed the different women, stuff like that, and hid them under the other house. I think the other house she knew about, but somehow she's blacked it out. I think she knew about the dead bodies. I think she's seen some of this stuff. That's why she's able to portray it. But there's always been that theory, like if you have some traumatic events, if they're so traumatic, you're able to kind of make them kind of cloud your mind and stuff like that, I guess you could say. I'm not a psychologist, but I've heard stories about people having traumatic events that down the line they're able to block them out. And we've seen movies like that where there's been traumatic events that somebody's gone through. But as we see in I would say like Stir of Echoes or something like that. But if you see that they start uncovering the concept, oh, what lies beneath is a good actual thing where she blocked out what exactly happened. But in the process, she's starting to be visited by what she considers her demon. She finds this like voodoo statue and stuff like that. And I think the voodoo statue was maybe the husband trying to find a way to kind of keep her wife under bay, keep her control. I actually have some theories where I think she may have been the one that kills the women, that she was the one that caused all the deaths and stuff like that because she knew her husband was cheating on him. Maybe he hid that from her and it became too much, and that's why he writes that poem. He's like, here, I'm going to kill myself and you'll be free from your demons. And maybe that was a whole thing. There's not a whole lot going on with that theory, but I have this weird theory that she was the one possibly involved with killing the kid or killing the women and stuff like that because she was so distraught. And then you see her in like the portion where she gets kind of thrust and she's kind of gets deformed into this ball where she's like truly starting to like deteriorate, and she's starting to kind of go into this mental collapse and stuff like that. We see like the two moons, we see the different sides of her mentality. She finds herself on a lake where the demon's trying to get her to commit suicide. Her friend shows up. And what makes it really interesting is it takes, a lot of her forgiving what her possible her husband did, or forgiving herself, kind of moving into a new kind of world, trying to get past the whole situation. Because as we see in this movie, she is really, truly messed up from what happened with her husband. At the end, she finally puts the gun down and is saved by her friend. But as the movie kind of concludes, before it goes black, we see kind of an outline in the water, which almost looks like a shadowy figure and stuff like that. So there is that possibility of demonic figures and stuff like that. But there's also that possibility that even though she's able to escape this moment, she's not going to be able to escape the fact that she will always have demons in her heart, because she never tells the police about the dead bodies. She never tells about the house. The only one that knows anything about the house is her neighbor, who's the individual with the dog. I think her friend knows something and she's trying to get her to stop worrying about it. She either knows like that she killed all the women, or she knew about the husband killing it. Maybe she had an affair with the husband. I don't entirely know. But I truly and honestly think, and this is just my opinion, a lot of people are going to have differences of opinions. Perfectly fine. I've seen in other Any Explained videos I do. I think in the end, I think she was mentally unstable. I think a lot of things she saw truly drove her almost to the edge. She's always had a darkness in her heart. Her husband tried to control it. He had his own demons and problems that caused from her mental stability. And in the end, she was on the verge of killing herself because she couldn't handle the mentality or the mentally stable condition. And she is able to finally break free, but she's going to, in the end, be controlled by or not controlled, but she's always going to have that underlying demon that could manifest itself in another form or fashion. So I think the Night House is just her mental state, is everything that has gone wrong with her brain. It's the conclusion that, her mental state is not fully there, like the house is not fully there. I think the use of the voodoo statue is possibly just a way to keep her under bay and stuff like that. Maybe, a guy just trying everything in his power. Maybe the other house was, some form of way of capturing her demons. Like I said, if you go into the mystical and spiritual, it could lead into like a house that's trying to keep the demon at bay, because you see all the labyrinth material on the paper and stuff like that. And it's basically my honest opinion. Like I said, I think it's all about her mental state and stuff like that, which is weird. A lot of Any Explains videos I've done have been about mental states, my personal opinion. But I feel that this movie and what it's trying to encapsulate feels more than a supernatural ability and supernatural event. I feel it deals with like subconscious problems of subconscious horror that somebody really can't get past. You look at something like The Cell, where it deals with everything you see is just the mental state of the character played by Vincent D'Onofrio and his ability to control who he is and his urges. So therefore, this is kind of on a lower tier level, but that's what I truly and honestly think. And I think what she's seeing, what she's hearing is just part of her mental state kind of breaking. So that'll be it. That'll be my take on this Any Explains for the Night House. Comments below with this video. What is your personal opinion on what you think is going on in this movie? If you think it's spiritual, if you think it's mental, if you think it's something else, please know I appreciate your theories and observations. If you think I'm wrong, I appreciate that too, but be courteous in your review and stuff like that. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know your personal opinions, all that good stuff. So in the comments below, what's your opinion? What's your take? What do you think of this movie? All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.